Hello, hello, hello. This is Cindy Harrison, your host of Artfully Connected with Cindy Harrison Facebook group, as well as Artful Webinars. And tonight we have a special artist for you tonight. And this is not Lydia Steves. This is Liz Miller. Hi, Liz. How are you
Hello.
doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you. So,
I'm glad you're here with me too. I love your paintings, and I am always intrigued to watch your style of how you get from a blank canvas to what you produce. And I think that I thought that's why I mentioned to you, I think it would be a great thing if you did one of these or more, if you so inclined,
I'll be
uh,
back.
to show people because I think they do love it as much as I do to watch how an artist creates their projects, and everyone has a different way or a different brush
Mhm.
and things like this that make it opens up other people's creativity to say, I have that brush, but I never thought to use it like that, or I'm struggling with this way. Maybe if I try your way, it'll be easier for me. Do you
Yes.
hear that a lot?
Oh, I do. I do. And the whole thing is just about creating your more options for yourself. And every time you watch somebody, you pick up something and you learn something, whether it's, oh, I like that, or I don't think I'm going to do that, one or the other. So I'm going to show you tonight a little bit about one of my favorite brushes that I use for landscapes. So I'll put you in touch with some of my secrets and some of the things that I really enjoy doing
Well,
with
we don't
this
we
brush.
don't want to give them all away.
No, no.
Save some for
And,
the classroom.
and this brush is so much fun that you just have to play with it and find out all the things that you can do with it. So I will
Not
bring you
yet.
back.
Not yet. We're gonna hang out a little bit and let some people catch up with us because it's very important to allow them to catch up with us. If you are here tonight, if you are interested in this is a pattern packet, right?
Yes, that's right. And it's available on my website. If you look at the post that Cindy put and the one that I put on Artfully Connected, you'll find the link to the packet and you'll find the packet. I won't be taking you step by step through this project. I'm going to just show you a little bit of some of my favorite techniques with this brush that I've used. And I've used this brush for most of the painting. So it's really fun.
So it's almost like a one brush painting.
Almost, yeah. Yeah. Of course,
Amazing.
you can't get by without a liner brush. So,
Right, but you know how many we all have a collection of brushes, and I know myself, I'm guilty of going and seeing something demoing at the show and
yes.
buying it because it looked really cool, get it home, don't know what it's for, put it in the holder, still in the plastic. Never needed
Uh,
it.
uh,
So,
well, you see, that person does such wonderful things with it. And I bring it back home and try it out. And I think I'm doing what they did. And it doesn't look anywhere near what they did with it. Um, and mainly it's you need to play with it more, but you have to have the type of painting that it lends itself to.
mhm.
So
Well,
that really helps.
yeah, this is going to be very exciting to see what your magic brush is and how you use it. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to recognize it and never thought to use it the way you do. So I'm anxious to see. And if you're here tonight, thank you so much for joining us tonight and watching this demonstration by Liz. This is going to be awesome. If you are watching the replay, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this replay, and feel free to ask questions in the comments. The link to her website is in the description, and I will put it in the comments again, where you can go and purchase this pattern or any of her patterns. And also, you give live Zoom classes too,
I do.
and they would be on the website listed what is coming up.
Yes.
And
We have quite a few things coming up on Artfully Connected and our Artful webinars.
mhm,
I've got classes all throughout the spring and exciting things happening with the convention coming up shortly. And then our adventure in May where it'll actually be in person. That's just really exciting.
that's
It's,
the first one.
yeah, it's just so much better, I guess. I can't think of the appropriate word right now, but it's so much more personal to be there in person
Mhm,
and
absolutely.
to have people respond, to see their responses, and you can gauge more of how you're doing, what you need to do, what people are wanting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that's why they do the TV sitcoms with live audiences.
yeah,
It's so much better than canned laughter.
yes, yes,
But yeah, there's so much going on, and so definitely, and if y'all don't know Liz, she's not just like an acrylic painter. She does watercolor. She does all these different things. She works with so many different products that she's going to be doing some different things other than acrylics with us this year. So you want to check those out and see them as they come. And if you're not on the mailing list, you'll probably want to go do that at ARPA webinars, and then you'll always see what is new and upcoming and what registrations are open. But without further ado, Liz, I am going to spotlight you. So if you want to change your camera over, I will
all
give you the
right.
spotlight and you can show us your magic. And that is going to be so awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay, what I'm going to be painting on is this little red barn in the snow. I did a couple small 6x6 canvases. I love painting on these small canvases with some different scenes of winter. This was from a photograph that my husband took. And I just love that little barn. Here's the photograph that I started from. So here's my brush. Let me pull this out here so you can see a little bit. This is a flat blender. It's the Bringle blender. Ronnie Bringle came up with this idea and asked the brush company to make this for her. This is manufactured by Scharf, and they have wonderful brushes. Most of my brushes come from Scharf, and it's artbrush.com. And if you've been taking classes with me and doing some of my landscapes, you've probably gotten one of these. So they're lots of fun. You can see this is flat, but it's a different bristle. Used to be made from badger hair. I don't know what it's made from these days, but you can tell it doesn't have a sharp chisel edge. It's fuzzier, so it does all kinds of cool things for texture. So I have used this brush mostly in this painting, and I'm going to just take you through some of the items that I've painted on here and show you how I've created some texture and what all you can do with this brush. And if you like this piece and would like to have the pattern packet, you can find that on my website, artfulendeavors.net. Look under landscape packets, and it'll be right there for you. We've just finished another painting. And this will be coming up on Artful Webinars, and I've used this brush for a lot of this painting also. So it's great for foliage and grass and dry brushing and snow and sand, all kinds of good things. So I'm going to start with some of the foliage in the background, some of the trees that are back there. And what I do with this brush, you can see how I'm holding it right now. Usually we paint like this with the brush lined straight up our arm, but we're going to work holding way back on the brush. I'm almost back here to the aqua part of this brush, but we want to be painting loose. So that happens if you move back onto the brush. I have my brush at a right angle to my arm. Okay. And I've got my hand laying down here to the side. So the secret to this is that you're painting from the side. If you're painting like this, you're getting just a flat stroke or just a horizontal direction stroke. But if I come out here to the side, I can get foliage out of it. So let's load it up with some paint here. And I'm going to make this light enough to where you can see. And there are all kinds of trees back here, and I can start, and I'm just tapping lightly. If I tap with a little more force, I'm going to get a triangle out of this. But if I go lightly, it'll loosen that up. So I can come in and I can create a tree back here. I want to think, okay, here's a branch. And maybe here's another branch. Maybe there's something coming forward. So painting, I want to think branches or clumps of foliage. I don't want to do polka dots. That doesn't look like a tree. But if I come in and say, okay, here's a branch coming out, or maybe there's a branch coming forward, and you just see it as a clump of leaves. And I'm keeping my hand over here to the side, painting at a right angle. Now, besides branches on trees, I could come down and I could do bushes. Or maybe we've got a small tree. Then I could come back and layer up. Maybe my light's coming more from the left, as in this painting. And I'm just adding some foliage over here to the left that's lighter than the other. Now, as I'm painting this, you can see that I have my brush just loaded in that triangle right there. So when I'm painting, that's the bristles that I want to use. I'm not painting flat, and I'm not up on the side of my brush. If you kind of think of being flat and twisting it away from you, then that's where you get the nice texture. So I can layer up. I can glaze over this using my big wash brush. I can create all kinds of great texture in here. Say I could put a tree, a smaller tree back behind my barn. And then as I'm doing layers with this, I can glaze over the top of it and with my background color, and I can sink all of that back into my background, and I can add more layers on top. And then, as in this piece, I can come through and glaze, and I can make it look like winter or fall. So, all kinds of washing my brush out, all kinds of different seasons. I did this little scene as a demo with just this brush the other day, and you can see all kinds of great texture. One thing I like to do with this, let me grab another card here, is grass. So if I stand the brush up completely perpendicular, this is perpendicular to my surface, and I can just flick up, and I can get long or short grass. It's wonderful for grass. So I'm flicking up, but you have to be perpendicular. You can't be too much any other way, too far over or too far back, then you're just going to push into your surface. I could fill in more grass just by little short pull downs with that. And I could come back and complete the edge with these flicks. Maybe I wanted a little longer grass someplace or layer it up. So it's really fun for that. The other thing that I can do is, again, I'm holding way back on this brush. When you're flicking, you have to be closer to your ferrule so that you can balance yourself. I usually use my little finger to support my hand, and then I'm able to stay with that 90-degree angle and flick. The other thing about this brush is the more you use it, the better it gets. It'll do even better texture. when you have used it a while and it's gotten a little more ragged for you. I could load this brush up. I could do some sandy or snow areas. And I don't have it completely on the chisel edge. I've got an angle a little bit, but because it's not really sharp here, you can get all kinds of great effects with that. And maybe I'd want to flick a little grass out here someplace. Okay, so I don't know if we've got a snow scene or a beach scene here, but it works for anyone, either one of those.
It's a snowy beach.
There you go. Just like we had a couple weeks ago here in North Carolina. Well, I
That's
think it's the second one I've seen in my extended lifetime.
wow.
Yeah. So in this painting, we've got a little building on here. This makes great texture. If I'm working again perpendicular to my surface and I pull down with this brush, you don't want to really push, but I can get all kinds of really great texture for this could be the side of an old barn. Um, we could come up and flick up some grass out here at the bottom of it. Maybe there's a little sandy soil here like we have in North Carolina. Okay. So there's our old barn that you're just seeing the side of. So we've got all kinds of great texture there. Any questions about this so far?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'll ask for you. Is this the Bringle blender? Yes, this is a Bringle brush, Faye. Absolutely.
Yes. I'm using the number 8 right now. They come in larger and smaller sizes. The 6 or 8s are the ones that I use the most. And it depends on the, excuse me, the size of my painting. But I can come in here and paint the siding on this barn.
Like you're not wiping off any of the paint. You're taking a full load.
Well, yes, good question, Cindy. But what I'm doing is I'm pulling some paint out, and this is my loading area here, not back where the
So
bubble.
you're not gonna glob on your, you know, it's not a glob of paint on the brush, but it's a loaded brush.
No,
Yeah.
can you see
Yep.
that it's not globbed on there? Oh, I just thought another thing I could do with this brush. I'm going to load the corner again.
Oh, your
Little
clouds, that's right.
circles. Yeah, there's my clouds. And because the edge is not smooth, I get all those little wispies out on the edges.
Like real clouds.
Yep, just like real clouds. So here in just a couple minutes, we've got a full scene with this, except my barn,
You know,
I guess
your barn almost looks like a waterfall.
it does. That's a good point. Now it's a fence. So Um, let's see. Let me paint something in here that's kind of like a rock. I've picked up a little bit more paint on my brush, and I can come in and put it just right at the top of what I'm calling my rock here and curve and flick down. Now we've got a waterfall. Yeah, just more and more things to do with this.
That also makes me think of a weeping willow.
Yeah, and here we've got
The
foam at the bottom of our waterfall.
wow.
Okay. Isn't this a cool brush?
Uh-huh.
Uh, Cindy and I think so. Yeah.
There are other people that are watching that love this brush too.
All right. Let us know if you've got this brush and what you've done with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What I have done on this little barn is on this one side, I have painted texture on that barn. My light's coming from the front left. So I'll let that dry just a minute. While I get my paint out, I'm going to get out some scarlet. I love this color. And another tip, got a small flat brush here. Make sure that's dry. Doing a little finger drying here. I can take some of my red and paint the dark side of this barn without the white on it. Same paint here, pulling over this white. Now I could have done that with the flat blender also, but now I've got light on the left side of that barn. Yeah. And I didn't try to paint perfectly, and that way I can set up some more texture. I can come back and flick up with my liner brush and create some texture. I can pull texture with my shadows with my dark color. And then here we go. Also, let's just let this be a little gray here. I can come back and I'm creating my land, picking up more white here because the light's hitting this side of the barn. Maybe there's a little light out there. But wouldn't something, look how quick this is going. Wouldn't something like this be great for a gift? Maybe the light's hitting some of the surface out here. But I can leave shadow, or if I've lost it, I can put it back in and I can still get out the right color here. I can still use this flat blender. And this painting was about um, snow, so that's why all the gray and white. Okay, that was just thinned, and I've created a shadow from that barn. Shadow's not going to come quite that forward, so Maybe I've got.
Barbara was saying that she has one, didn't really know how she could use it. And I said, doesn't it want to make you pull it out and play with it? She goes, yes, it does.
Uh, I know I painted with Ronnie Bringle, and she had these brushes, and she showed us one thing to do in the painting that we were going to do with this brush. And then she says, oh, it's just such a wonderful brush. I could do so much with it in a landscape. And she left it there. So I had to go home with the brush and play with it and see what all I could do with it. And she was right. To lighten up, I can come beside the barn here. Let me tilt that so you can see, and we'll just flick up some leftover weeds. Maybe there's a little back at the back there. The light's catching those weeds, and let's put a little bit of light back there that's coming around the back of that barn. And I could add a little snow on some of those bushes. I'm not going to take you through all the layering and everything that I've done. If that sounds exciting to you, then you can get the packet and find out exactly what all I've done. But there, we've done those. So I did.
Once you start, you don't want to stop, right?
I know.
You're just having so much fun.
Mhm. And I painted this painting a good while ago, and I would come back at this point and probably use this brush a little bit more. Um, I could come, oh, that's just very light. But you see, now I've added some worn out white streaks on that barn. I don't want so much texture on the roof, so I would not use that on the roof of the barn, but I can come through with my flat brush, but regular flat that has a chisel edge. And let's go up. I can create a little more of a tin texture with this brush, pulling in the direction that the tin would go. I'll pull this down. I could get some of this texture with a flat brush, but it's going to be more challenging and not quite as textured because of the cut of the brush. So, as Cindy and I were saying, all those brushes that you see that all the paint companies have, all the specialty brushes, I've probably got one of every one of them, but there are only a few that I use. I usually will go back to my standard, do a lot with a filbert, use this flat blender a whole lot in my landscape paintings, and a liner brush, of course, and some big wash brushes. So I could get by with those and my large wash brush, excuse me, and a nice large flat brush for shadows. So, any questions at this point about this brush?
So far, no, but I put in the comments. If they do, let me know what your questions are.
Okay. The other thing that I've done with this painting is a lot of glazing. And I like to use my large wash brushes and just thin my paint down. And I
So is
can,
there some water in that brush or just,
yep, it's juicy. The paint is thinned. My students say, you've got that paint watered down. And I tell them, no, I don't like the term watered down. That I prefer to use thinned, because watered down sounds so um, um, messy and juicy, and it's not necessarily what we want. This is a controlled thinning of the paint. So you see, I can tone this back as much as I want to. I'm kind of liking this little painting. I might not follow my instructions.
but isn't that nice about this, landscapes, you can pretty much do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
And just keep playing with the brush and exploring different textures that you can make with the same brush.
Did did you notice what I did? I just my reflex picked up my flat blender brush, and I can
Mm-hmm.
come in
You went
and
right to it.
yeah, just tap in some shadows back here. And now we've got a lot more depth going on in our painting. Let's push that back there.
So they could do a fall scene, start with the white like you did, but just glaze with the different fall colors
Mm-hmm.
or spring colors. Wow.
Yep. And get my brush clean here. That's pretty much what I did with this little fall painting. This is some Quinn Gold. If any of you are still fortunate enough to have some Quinn Gold, I can turn what I've got here into a fall painting by glazing. This is thinned paint, although I'm not using a large brush. I can still call it glazing because it's thinned paint over whatever's down there. And you see now I've created um, more of a late fall scene. We've got some snow on the ground. Oh, what was really nice, talked about um, snow at the beach, is I've been in the mountains in the fall with snow. And so we had snow and fall colors. So now we're getting some really interesting. Uh,
But you're just sitting it with water, right?
just thinned it with water. Yeah. Now I can use glazing medium, and I've got it sitting right here. And I actually started this other painting with glazing medium to really set the colors in the background. But this time I didn't demo with the glazing medium. Got some uh, tangerine here. And I'm going to pick up a brighter color just on that quarter of the brush. And I can tap in just like we were doing to start with.
So even if this brush is wet from the glazing, while it's still damp, you can go back and still flick the grass and the sides of the barn and stuff like that? Or should that be always dry when you do the grass
No,
in the barn?
no, I start out with it damp.
Oh, okay.
So, damp in the sense of the first thing I did. Good question, Cindy. You're doing good, Cindy.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Uh, was to wash the brush to wet it, get the bristles wet up into the ferrule. So again, I don't want the paint to dry up into the ferrule. Put some little ghost orange trees back in there. So I'm liking that. Kind of makes you wonder what's happening over here. And I can keep that kind of open just for mystery. Yeah. If
The boogeyman lives there.
oh, all kinds of fun things I can do, and I'm still painting with this same brush. And
Do you wash it out in between colors?
um, depends on what I want. Right now, I'm not washing it out between colors because I've gone from this burnt orange to an orange to a red, and all that works nicely together. And sometimes, possibly, say, if I used up all the red that was in this brush, some of the other colors as a mix might come out, which could be really nice. I'm starting to have too much fun here.
What do you tell the students? Put the brush down.
Yes, yes. I know. Okay, I've got too much there. What I will usually do is come in here and wipe my brush off. I want to go back and maybe add some orange to break up that glob of red that I put down there. Or I could wash my brush, make sure this is dry, and come back and add some white if that's what I wanted to do. But I've washed my brush, but let's come in with the orange and just lighten a little bit on that barn. So we did the white so that the colors will be light and vivid. So white as an undercoat. And then we've got the red on top of that. I flicked just a little bit of white in there and then perked up some of it with a little bit of my orange color. So
That's very cool. People are loving this.
good. I like this. I like that space back there. So let's just tone it down. This is a little more of my soft black that I started with, and that can really push that back. So let's tone down the corner over here. And that's going to bring your eye to the center of interest more. So I think this is pretty cool.
And that can be, I mean, look at it. It's maybe not even 45 minutes. And we did some questions and answering and stuff. You could have in a half an hour or less have a nice little gift for somebody, a housewarming or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let's just add some shadows in here. And that's just with my chisel edge with this other brush. So I'm kind of using this small flat brush just the way I was using the flat blender. Let's push those back a little bit. Give ourselves some distance. Then, of course, the good old liner brush. And liner brushes, my um, favorites are the 1 and the 0. I hardly ever, unless I'm painting eyelashes, do anything smaller than a 0. Uh, the liner brush, the length of the brush, the hairs that you've got in there are what um, holds the paint. It's the reservoir for the paint. So if you've only got 2 hairs in the brush, you can't hold many hairs in there with it. So we can come in and add some branches in here. Or maybe some long grasses. Let's see, where do I want to put? Just kind of the suggestion of some branches through here, just to open up the foliage some. I'm still leaving this as an area of mystery. Maybe I want to pull this tree. Oops. But I thin my paint so it'll work. Let this tree be a little more in the foreground. So I'll lighten up my paint for it. So that was white.
And they really don't have to be connected to anything either. The way you're putting them in looks like they're really not, they're just.
Exactly. Boo. All right. A damp brush is a great eraser. Well, that just barely made a mark, but it works. And let's just put something over there. There's, what is this? 48 minutes, and I don't see too much else to add to this.
Nope.
If you're asking what that strange thing out in front of the barn is,
I was.
so that's for hay to feed the cows. So
Oh,
they'll load it up with hay, and the cows come and pull the hay out
yeah.
of it, and it can come out the sides or the tops, and they crowd all around it. So if you're out and you see just a whole group of cows standing around in a circle, they're not just having a conversation or group meeting. They're pulling hay out of the hay feeder there.
That's so cool. I was wondering that too. That's so funny.
Yeah,
But
so
you don't have to have it.
that's right.
Norma is asking, do you prefer the black background or the blue?
Or the blue, what blue?
I don't know. So, what do you prefer a black background in general for, or is that just for this particular project? And
Just for this particular painting. I mean, if you look at the original, look at all the shadows back in there. So it was just a good color to start with. And then,
that's the original photo,
yep,
and it was that dark. Wow.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Lots of shadows. It was a very bright day. So you've got lots of light on the light areas and really deep shadows back in the forest. So, and there's the cow feeder
Oh yeah, cool.
out there in front.
Well, she was asking if the other picture was on a blue background, but the original one, that's still black, right? Soft black.
Um, I'm not sure which one she's talking about.
But didn't
It,
you have one that you had done originally, or is it always a photo?
this, if I've sold the original of this,
Oh,
and
okay.
what I started with back here is the zinc and white. And so here I've let a little more of that zinc show, which is almost a blue gray.
Yeah, she said it looks
It
blue on
is.
the computer, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And every person's computer is a little bit different. So the colors are going to come out differently. Um, and when we used to get all the painting books, and you would look at the picture in the book and say, I want mine exactly like that. But when you use the colors that they said they used, it didn't look like it. It's because there's always color shift anytime something is printed.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing I've gotten questions about, well, the pattern you sent doesn't fit. My printer prints it too big or too small or whatever. And it's up to the settings that you put on your printer. If you get a pattern and you want it to be 6x6, make sure your printer is set to 6x6 or whatever size you want it to be.
Right.
Uh, that's usually the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Any other questions?
No, people are just commenting how beautiful. Janet says it reminds her of the beautiful Russian lacquered boxes.
Ah, well, you got some of those colors there. Yeah.
The black background, absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah. Black backgrounds are really fun. I like to paint from a dark background, but it really depends on what the scene lends itself to.
Hmm.
Um, and the um, paint that I put over, well, the red's a good um, example here, that when I painted that scarlet on top of the soft black, it's dark. When I painted it on top of a white undercoat, look how bright it is.
Right. Yeah, because you're not going to do a daytime scene on a black canvas, typically.
Not usually, except for this one.
Okay, so love your technique, the ease and quickness of creating such a beautiful piece. It's awesome. Love this demo, and there's a lot of that. Liz will go back and she will read all of these things to make sure I didn't miss anything. So even if you watch the replay and you have questions, or you come back tomorrow, the next day, or whatever, and you have questions, you can put them here. Just put Liz's name in front of it. I'll put an @ sign in front of Liz's name, I mean. Make sure there's no space between the @ sign and the L in Liz. Or you can go to her page, Artful Endeavors, right?
Yes.
And you can ask questions there, post them in both groups if you play with them and you have some things you want to show us. We would love to see them.
Yes, I'm Artful Endeavors on Facebook, and I'll be glad you can send me messages there. I'll be glad to answer if you have questions or comments. If you paint this, if you buy the packet and paint it, I'd love to see it. Send it to me. Um, We all love to see what everybody else is doing. The fun thing, especially with this brush, is everybody that uses it is going to be a little bit different. So no two people are going to use it exactly the same.
Do you have certain sizes that you find that you use those more than others? I mean, there's a I have to go find it. Barb was asking what sizes did you say the brush comes in? Well, it comes in a lot of different sizes, but is there a few special sizes you prefer to work with?
Yeah, I usually get the mid sizes, the 6 or the 8. Use the 8 a lot. And um, the 8 is a little more versatile than the 6 because I can load less and get smaller, or I can load more and get larger. Uh, but the 6, you can just tap more with it. Um, so I know it comes in a 10 and a 4. Um, and there are also ovals and rounds. And the rounds are more like this. So and
What's the series number on it? Do you see?
the flat, the series number is 1460.
So I'm gonna put this Springle Blender
Yep,
series 1460.
60. But if you just look for the Bringle blenders, it'll just show you all that come in the variety. The ovals I like to use when I'm doing portraits. They're nice and soft and just a little fuller than just a regular filbert brush. So they do really nice for portraits. The small rounds are really terrific in portrait work for detail.
I'm gonna put the link in the comments
And
directly.
it's artbrush.com.
Right, but I'm putting the direct link to the Bringle Flat Blender Series 1460.
Right.
Okay, Georgia wrote, it's like the pans you use to cook with. You keep going back to your favorite. Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We all have our favorite tools, and brushes are the same. And then it's darned when you have to replace them and you have to break them in all over again. They
Yeah.
don't, new ones don't work the same way as that good old trusty one.
Mhm.
Well, at any rate, you can come back to your face. And then we will say,
To my
yeah,
face.
your face, your smile. We like to see your smile. There you are. So
Okay.
thank you so much for sharing your talents with us. Everyone loved this demonstration. Again, I put the links for her website where you can go and find the pattern packet. And the name of the pattern packet was again, Liz?
Red Barn in Snow.
Real original. Red
Yeah.
Barn. It's very difficult to name our paintings, but Red Barn in Snow, you can find it on artfulendeavors.net. Make sure you do a net and not a com because I've made that mistake before. And also the brushes, I put the link directly to that particular brush that she has used for most of this painting. And so you can find it in all the different sizes. If you create, please share with us. We'd love to see it. And if there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know, or any artists I'll try and get for you. But typically I do Artful Webinar artists who are also doing classes for Artful Webinars. So if there's something that a product that you aren't sure about, you were thinking of purchasing, but you don't know quite if you should or what you do with it, let me know and I'll try and find someone who works with that product and get you a demo. How's that sound? So Thank you, Liz, so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Any last words, Liz?
Well, just thank everybody for coming to join us and those that are going to look later. We appreciate that. And be sure and check out what else we've got coming up for convention and our Artful Affair
That's
in
right.
May.
We
And
have a
come
show and
join
tell
us.
tomorrow night. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
If
have
you come to the Artful Affair, you get to experience Cindy and me and some other wonderful
Lydia
artists.
and Ross and Paulette hang out with us, share a
Yeah,
glass of wine or a cup of coffee, whatever.
in person. And we're actually even better in person.
And Liz and I haven't met in person yet, so
I know.
it's going to be fun and we're going to have a great time. And you can read about it at artfulwebinars.com under Artful Affairs as well. And yeah, if you have any questions about Artful Webinars or anything to do with Artful Webinars, definitely give me a call or an email or whatever. I don't recommend putting it on Facebook unless it's a private message, but I don't recommend putting it on Facebook because I don't always see. Have you found that you don't always
Yeah.
see all the
Mhm.
posts? So you're not going to get a quick answer that way. An email, Cindy at artfulwebinars.com, or a phone call is much quicker. Other than that, check out the show and tell. I mean, the show and tell tomorrow night. Liz, you're going to be there?
Yep.
Oof,
I'll
yeah,
see you then.
we'll get to see all the things that she's been working on that she's offering in the future. And and then Friday night is going to be Mine with Lydia Steves, and then we're having a special edition. Like this was a special edition because it's not usual on a Tuesday night, but we're having a special edition on Saturday with Lydia at 7 p.m. Eastern time with using pastels, that 24 pack that she bought. So she's trying to see how many different things she can make just with those 24 and
Mm.
no more to keep the costs down. So come back again. We'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Say bye, Liz.
Bye-bye.
Maybe.